So we're going to dive in and create our first part, and that is going to be a bolt. It's going to be a socket head M3 bolt. So M3 by 20, so it's a 20 millimeter thread on this M3 metric 3 millimeter socket head bolt. So we're going to create one of these. We'll need this later on in our project. So this is sort of a nice easy part to start with. So we'll head back into Fusion, and we're going to start with the bigger head part of the socket of the bolt. And we're basically going to start just around this edge here, so the bottom edge, and we'll extrude the head one way, and we'll extrude the threaded part of the bolt the other way. So the diameter of this part is 5.4 millimeters, and it gets extruded up 3 millimeters. So when we create our sketch, we're going to start, and the orientation isn't critical in this stage, so we'll just go and do it from the top. I'm going to create a circle. Again, if you don't see a circle there, it could just be in your list below. So I'm going to create it from the center. 5.4 millimeters is our diameter. And enter. If it looks really small, you might just be zoomed out a long way. So 5.4, and we're going to finish our sketch. So we'll get a bit of an angle view here, and we can extrude this feature upwards 3 mil and enter. So that's sort of the head of our bolt. I'm just going to turn that up and create a sketch on the bottom edge here, and it is going to be 3 millimeters. It's a metric 3 millimeter thread, so it has a 3 millimeter diameter. Finish sketch. As I said, the one we need is about 20 millimeters. So when we extrude on this one, go in the opposite direction, 20, and enter. So I'm just going to add some details to this now. So I'm going to create a sketch on this top edge, and I'm going to create the socket. So the socket itself, distance from one flat side to the other flat side of this hexagonal shape is 2.5 millimeters. So we're going to create a polygon, and what's called a circumscribed polygon. Careful how you say that. So when we create a circumscribed polygon, we're going to start it again at our origin point. And for me, it just happens to be a 6-sided polygon, which is convenient. If I hit tab, I can jump across to here, and I can change the number of edges or number of sides. So if I put 10 in, it's going to create a 10-sided shape. If I put 6 in, create a 6-sided shape. If I put 3 in, it's going to create a triangle. So 6. Now, rather inconveniently, this works based off of sort of the radius rather than the diameter. So we needed it to be 2.5 millimeters from one side of this to the other. So I could put in 1.25, or I could put 2.5 divided by 2 and get it to do the maths for me. So it's a sort of handy feature that Fusion has. Will do some basic maths for you as you go. And click to drop it. Now, at the moment, this is on a very, very slight angle. You might not notice it. And you could argue it doesn't really matter what angle this is on, because it's circular and it'll be threaded, and it doesn't really matter. But if you're like me, you probably want to make sure that it's nice and straight. And this red set of icons up the top here are what's called our constraints. And these are basically a way of sort of locking and defining shapes into place without using dimensions. So I'm going to make one of these surfaces horizontal, or vertical, and it will lock it to being horizontal or vertical. In this case, it's locked to being horizontal, so that it straightens it up. And we'll hit Finish Sketch. So we can extrude this down now, and we'll come down here, -2 mil. Now the last thing we'll need to put on is our thread. So metric 3mm thread, I'm going to go to Create, and in this list we're going to go down to Thread, and we're just going to click on this surface here. Now there's a few options in here. You can choose to have it so it's not the full length, it might only go part way. Looks like it's gone on the wrong side there. In this case it's going to be full length. It's automatically picked up that it's an M3, so metric 3mm by 0.5, and that's the pitch of the thread. So it's automatically, because it was 3mm in diameter, it's automatically picked up the fact that that's the most logical size that we should be using. The only other thing that you might want to put on is modeled, and that will actually model the thread. If you leave model unticked, it will just sort of put a graphic on top of it. The reason why it gives you the option is because this model is very complicated. It's a helical sort of shape. It's very fine detailed. If I had hundreds or thousands of bolts in a model, then this would be sort of overwhelming for it. So is it also easier to work with it when it's just got the graphic thread on it? So it's up to you. For this exercise, either way works fine. You hit OK. And that is the end of our first part. So give this one a save, call it M, when it comes up, M3 by 20. You can call it socket head bolt. You can call it bolt. It's up to you. And then save this where you're saving the rest of your things. See you in the next video.